Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to crack the code of interpersonal communication. We are diving straight into a really fascinating concept from the text, Decoding the Unspoken, a guide to female subtext. You know, if you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling like you totally missed some hidden layer of meaning, well, you definitely aren't alone. Let's unpack the actual hidden mechanics of everyday dialogue.
Let's just dive right in with two of the most universally common phrases you will literally ever hear. I'm fine and do whatever you want, right? We've all heard them. We've probably all said them. Now, on the surface, they sound like a simple, positive update or, a generous offering of choice. But taking these phrases at face value, man, that might be a massive communication misstep.
The text immediately hits us with a pretty critical question here. When those specific words are spoken, is she actually fine? It kind of forces us to hit pause and completely rethink our interactions. Because human communication, especially when we're talking about relationships, is rarely just about the literal dictionary definition of the words vibrating in the air.
And the source provides a really stark, immediate answer to this little mystery. Absolutely not. No minced words there whatsoever. In these specific contexts, the reality is often the exact opposite of the spoken word. So this is our first major clue that we're basically dealing with a coded language, where spoken words frequently act as a polite or even a strategic cover for a much deeper reality.
You see, there is a vast divide between the literal words being spoken and the actual reality of the situation, and it is incredibly easy to get tripped up here. Think about it. If you only operate on the literal level, just accepting "I'm fine" as the absolute truth, you completely miss the complex reality that's bubbling underneath. Stopping at that literal interpretation is, fundamentally, a total failure to communicate.
Moving on to part 1, the leadership subtext test. If the words don't mean what they literally say, we have to explore the underlying mechanism at play here.
The text actually defines this communication gap with a very specific term, emotional subtext. So we're not just talking about a quirky misunderstanding. It's framed as a deliberate tool. It's an active behavioral filter that's frequently used to test a man's intuition and leadership, right there in real time.
So, those everyday phrases aren't just casual chatter. They are actually hidden tests with 3 main components. First, the communication happens entirely through emotional subtext rather than direct requests. Second, it tests intuition, like can you sense what's genuinely wrong without being explicitly told? And finally, it evaluates leadership. And in this context, leadership basically means recognizing that unspoken problem and stepping up, taking charge to navigate the situation effectively.
Okay, into part 2, translating the unspoken. Let's see how this builds into an actionable strategy for those looking to level up their communication.
Now you might be wondering, why go through all this effort? Well, the text establishes a clear motive. If you want to stand out, you need to learn to read what she's actually saying. Taking words literally just means falling right into the trap and blending in with everyone else who isn't paying attention. Passing the test requires an active, conscious effort.
So succeeding in this dynamic really requires a direct process of translation. It's a 3-step process. Step 1, hear the common phrase, like do whatever you want. Step 2, look past the literal meaning. Do not accept it at face value. And step 3, translate that underlying emotional subtext. For instance, do whatever you want very often translates to, I want you to care enough to make a definitive choice. Mastering this 3-step process is absolutely the key to demonstrating that intuition and leadership we talked about.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with the final challenge based on the text's central premise. In your own relationships, are you truly reading the subtext, or are you just hearing the words? Sticking only to the literal meaning almost guarantees you're going to miss the real conversation. It's just a fascinating lens to view human interaction through, kind of reminding us that sometimes the absolute most important things being said are the things left entirely unspoken. Thanks for joining me on this one, and hey, keep looking for the meaning behind the words.